We are on to the second task of the PTE Academic. This is called the repeat sentence. We should also change this name to the new repeat sentence. Why? Of course, you guessed it. There's been changes, and this was one of those major changes. Now, in the past, the repeat sentence was probably the most important task in all of PTE. Why? Because it gave you 40 to almost 50% of your listening points here. And it was almost the same for speaking as well. These days, not so much. Now, the speaking points distribution, it's been spread out. So for the speaking and the repeat sentence, it doesn't give you anything close to what you used to get. All right, so you're going to get probably a little bit more than 10 points here, between 10 to 15, I would say. All right, so it's a big drop, probably cut in half or more than half. Now, as far as listening goes, you actually get more listening from the repeat sentence than you do for speaking. Even though this is a speaking task, you get more listening points than you do speaking points. All right, so that's just a little bit of a comparison from what's old and what's new. But in this tutorial, I'm going to give you an overview. I'm going to introduce to you what the repeat sentence task is, and then of course I'll talk a little bit about how PTE says they score you. So y'all ready? Let's get into it. Here is the rundown for the repeat sentence. You will be given 10 to 12 of these questions individually. You will be able to hear each sentence once. Each sentence will have about 8 to 14 words. You will hear a beep once the sentence is finished and it's time for you to speak. You will have 15 seconds to repeat the sentence. If you pause for 3 seconds, the microphone will turn off and you'll automatically be taken to the next question. Regardless of how many points you can get in this task, from the old repeat sentence to the new repeat sentence, this task will always be one of the most difficult, most challenging. Why? Because it's not just testing you on listening comprehension, because you need to listen, understand, and memorize, because you need to repeat it back. And that is difficult for a lot of people. Now, I just want to point out, you see how I introduced, you're going to get sentences between 8 to 14 words. Now, you must maintain your confidence, because by not being able to repeat all the words doesn't mean you're going to automatically fail. All right? Depending on the score that you're aiming for, sometimes you don't need to repeat all 8, all 14 words. You will still be able to get points by repeating some of those words. And I'll talk more about that later when I talk about how they score you. All right? But for now, let me show you what this task looks like. This is a screenshot from the official PTE mock exam. Again, this is the closest we're going to get to seeing what it looks like on the real exam. So for the repeat sentence, it's going to be a very empty screen. You're not going to see a lot. You're going to see the audio recorder, and it's going to count down. It's going to count down to tell you when the audio is going to play. They're going to play the sentence for you, but don't repeat right away. You're going to hear a beep. Once you hear that beep, that means it's your turn to speak. Please don't speak before you hear that beep. Nothing is getting recorded, all right? So after you hear the beep, you speak. As soon as you're done, you see that next button. Once again, press next. A pop-up will appear asking, are you sure? Don't read it. Just press next. Hit next, hit yes, let's go. Okay, by now, you should know what the repeat sentence task is. You know what the question is, how many you're going to get, what it looks like. But how do we get points? Well, let's go back to the score guide. As you can see here, it's very similar to the read aloud. You're going to see for all of the speaking, it's going to be similar to this. You're going to get content, fluency, and pronunciation points. But the difference here for repeat sentence is you get 3 points for content. For read aloud, they didn't tell us anything, right? No number to determine content. But repeat sentence, the number is 3. Now, fluency, pronunciation, I've talked a little bit about that already. So how do we get those content points? Well, let's go back again and read it carefully. You notice here, 3, 2, 1, 0. To get 3 points in the content, you have to repeat all of the words correctly in the correct sequence. That means you cannot say the words out of order. To get 2 points in content, you need 50% in the correct sequence. Do you agree that the difference between 2 points and 3 points is 1 point? So how do we go from 3 to 2? Well, by repeating 100% of the words, you can get 3 points in content. But if you don't get 100% and you get less, all the way down to about 50%, you will only lose 1 point. So by saying half of the sentence, you will get very close to 3 points. You get 2. And by getting 2 points in content, you can still get a very high speaking score. I've already done that. Okay, that's what I'm telling you. So that's to help you maintain confidence, because this task is difficult. So if you are able to repeat the words in order, even half of the sentence, don't worry, that's enough. You don't need to get the other half, because 2 points in content can get you high marks. All right, so that's why here it's important to understand how you get the points. You do not always have to go for the gusto. You don't always have to go for the 100. It's not necessary. All right, hopefully that helps you clear up what the repeat sentence task is. Let's move on to the next task.